Hi, I'm Megz. I'm a grain farmer in southwest Saskatchewan. I have been farming for 6 years now, and this spring we seeded 2,100 acres. So we grew barley, durum wheat, which is used for making pasta, large green lentils, and some flax as well. The farm actually has been in my husband's family for 107 years. So he's fourth generation, and our two little girls are fifth generation farmers.
Say barley, Regina.
There is so much kind of unknown. I was running off of some numbers that talked about a cost per acre if a forced carbon tax was put onto my operation, which would be running at $50 a ton. And for seeding 2,100 acres, I was looking at about $30,000 a year. And quite frankly, that's a really, really hard bill to make my farm swallow, especially the last 3 years. Commodity pricing has been low. We've been in drought for 2 years.
We had snow in October. There's guys still trying to get their fields combined because it was just such a disaster.
We just don't have the resources to suddenly come up with that kind of capital. So when my costs keep going up, like they would with a carbon tax, I don't get to try to recoup that cost on the other end, and it makes it extremely hard for me to be a farmer. You know, it's been going on in different provinces now for a slower rollout, and Saskatchewan's always taken a firm line against it. And so I think for maybe the first year, I kind of thought, you know, this doesn't affect me, my province is against it. A lot of farmers are upset. It feels like we've been left out of the conversation. You know, they want to point a bad finger and shake it at us and say, whoa, you're producing carbon, it's bad. But we actually need carbon for farming. And I'm a no-till farmer in Saskatchewan, and our agricultural practices with that no-till are actually net zero for carbon emissions. And Canadian cropland last year sequestered 11 million tons of carbon. The other challenge with the carbon pricing coming into Canada and being forced on farmers and agriculture is that Canada does not have the population to be able to consume the goods and the products that are created in Canada or grown in Canada. And when we're competing against a market that doesn't have a carbon tax, we're taking a hit to be able to stay competitive on that market, and that hit is passed on to myself as a farmer. Agriculture is already making huge strides towards being more sustainable.
Basically, we just want everything spread on the field. It's going to break down and be nutrients for next year.
We soil sample now, so we're only putting exactly down what our soil needs. We're not overusing chemicals or fertilizers. That soil is our greatest resource, and we're going to take care of that the best of our ability. I'd actually like to see more forward thinking from the government on green energy, if that's a way that they want to move forward. I was recently in Germany, and there's incentives for farmers to have solar on their farms and for farmers to have wind and other things because the government wants to move forward with green energy, and they're making that a priority instead of simply taxing it and hoping everything else kind of falls into place on its own.